Hey coin collectors, Dan the Collecting Man here. Today I want to go through what are my thoughts of the current market when it comes to $2 coloured coin collecting. I've definitely noticed a massive decline in the values of a lot of these coins, and I want to go through some of the key reasons why I think the market might be dying off the way it is, and I'd love to know in the comments below what you personally think why the market is drying up and the values of some of these really collectible coins are definitely dropping off a lot more than I probably anticipated, and I'd love to know your feedback. So I want to go through probably what is the most obvious key reason right now is the fundamental cost of living. I think from my perspective, I've seen definitely a lot of people talking about how they're struggling with being able to afford some of the basic things like the home loans with the higher interest rates that are happening. This, the food and insurances and electric bills and just the fundamental bills of living have gone up so much. So I think a lot of people, from my personal belief, are offlaying some of their coin collecting just to bring some value and some money back in to the home, and just to try and bring some of that value back into the house to pay off some of those core bills. So I definitely see a bit of that kind of happening from that aspect. I think another thing from another key aspect is there's just too many coloured $2 coins. So going through and having a look at this and just seeing all the different types of coloured $2 coins there is in the collecting market, when you got different versions, you got cemented, non-cemented, you got the proof ones, then you got the ones that get rolled out of Woolies or other special Australia Posts. There's all different styles, and there's just so much variety when it comes to coloured $2 coin collecting that there's almost too much for new collectors to come in and get a full appreciation and know which ones to look for in the future is my aspect. So I think there's just a lot of variety when it comes to from that aspect, and I haven't actually calculated how many of these, but it'll be probably at least 30 plus, if not more, different coloured $2 coins when you add them all up with the cements and non-cements and the special counter stamp versions and so on. There's definitely a lot out there to collect. So that can be a good thing because it makes it fun to collect, but it also makes it a bit daunting for coin collectors, because if you're going to start a collection like I have and now to add to it, and with the amount of releases that there were at the time, I think at one point there was just way too many releases. Like if you have a look at this, you can even get this one release that has a whole magnitude of coloured $2 coins just in this one set alone, and these are all individually dated to 2023 with the Queen Memorial, and you got those ones. I've even noticed the value of this set, even though it's got a special red poppy in it, has definitely dropped down, and there was another version of that as well. It could also be lately there hasn't been any really interesting coloured $2 coins. So we've seen the Australian Open one, and this is what really got me thinking about it. I went to the Australia Post on the day of release of this. I was very excited to get these coloured $2 coins, which is this one here. So I was all excited to get there. Probably got to the post office a good probably half an hour to almost an hour before it opened, to one that I know is really, really good at getting all the key Royal Australian Mint releases. And got there, waited there, and it wasn't until about 5 minutes before opening that some other people actually showed up, and they were just there for general post. I was the only one there waiting on release day for these coloured $2 coins, which surprised me quite a lot. And then again last year when it came out with the Paris Olympics coins, there was a few more people trying to get them, but there was not many people. Where I've seen in the past, there's queues for ages for people trying to get the coloured $2 coins, to where now there just seems to be no interest at all at getting these coloured $2 coins. There's not many people, and I haven't seen many people talking about the Australian Post ones, and they're still trying to sell them off in the Australian Post. I don't know how many they ended up minting, but there seems to be a lot. So I think that can definitely contribute. There's nothing of recent. I think the last great coloured $2 coin from my personal aspect is the Vietnam War one. This silver one absolutely looks beautiful, and I think the design and everything about it is just a really, really nice collectible coin. But that one has definitely lost a little bit of value from that aspect. There's also been a little bit of a slowdown from the Royal Australian Mint with releases. So I've definitely noticed there's a lot less releases in coins in general. So not as many coins being released into the public. I know there's going to be some pretty cool ones coming up in the next week, but there's just not as much ideas and excitement. So I find the hobby of coin collecting loses a little bit of momentum when there's less people getting excited about the next crazy release. So I think that may be a different aspect as well, where the Perth Mint seems to have a lot of great releases and they're doing a lot of cool things when it comes from a bullion collecting point of view. The Royal Australian Mint seems to be dropping off with its value of cool, really good releases when it comes to coin collecting in general, not even just for $2 colored coins. So I have a feeling that may be a bit of it as well. And I also found it's very hard to get the coins. So when there was a release, it was very hard. Like one week you're going to a special coin dealer. Next week we're going to the Australia Post to get it. Next week they're running run fair system and you can only get it from the Royal Australia Mint. Then it's all these different ways of getting it. Then you got to go to Woolies and get it through Woolies or another retail store that they had last year when it came to the NRL as well. So there's just so many different ways of getting them each release. There's no consistency on how the coins are going to be released into the market, and you can't just go to your general coin store and just go, when the next release comes out, can you hold some for me? Because they don't always get them. They seem to be really struggling to get them. So it just seems like a bit of a random way of releasing these coins. There's no consistency in the release model of how they release these coins, which I think is definitely something I've noticed. And I'm always trying to find out, and sometimes even this one here, the amount of information I was struggling to find out when they were actually going to be released. I think they'd already been released for a couple of hours before the Royal Australian Mint actually released some information about this release, which is pretty poor. So you can get it on the Australian Post, but the Royal Australian Mint are definitely not giving big clear notice of late of what's being released and where it's being released, and it's just every time it's just a shot in the gun of where it's going to be released. And I think that kind of makes it a bit more frustrating for coin collectors to find the key information. So I think that's, for me, is something that I've found a bit frustrating for me, because I'm like, well, where am I going to go to try and get them? Because I really want to make sure I get the coins so I can make content and videos about it, which is something I enjoy doing. And also the different ways they're shown. So like this release is in this one, then you've got the little cards like this, then you've also got these little ones, then you've got this one, and then you've got P and C's. There's just it seems to be changing a lot the way they come out. You sometimes get the rolls. I don't mind the rolls, and I wish they did more personally of the rolls. I think they're pretty cool to get these coloured $2 coin rolls. I wish I had some poppy ones. So, but for me, there's just inconsistency in the way they're packaged. Some of the packages look really great. I love, like I said, this one here and the honeybee one. I think one of the best designs out there is really cool, but for me, there's an inconsistency around that. It's like they're always trying to do new, different things. I do love the silver versions. I think they're pretty cool. The last one for me was a little bit of a flop, the design of this one. Like I said, this looks like a whole lot of frosting on a coin. You can kind of make out the edging of the animal, but you can't really make out as much of the design, where the Vietnam War one has a nice, clean, crisp design. You can really see all the detail on that one. So it was a really, really nice design, but I think that's being lost of late as well. I also noticed some of this one here. You got the person there, the way they're elongated, they don't even look like a real human. Or you got this one, which was the Paris Olympics, where you got this was a breakdancing animal, which is again very random. So I'd love to know what you personally think. I've definitely noticed, I think if I go through some of the core values of some of the key collecting ones, I know this one at a grade of 70 was selling at one point over $2,000. We're now looking at around $1,200 for that one. So you lost nearly $800 over the last year or two in its core collecting value. So it's definitely dropped off. And if we look at the key poppy, this is a really nice one, a grade of 67, which is not a bad grade at all for the most collectible colored $2 coin that you can get. You're looking around $600 for this, which is a very, very reasonable price for a C minted one specifically. So I think that's definitely dropped off, and you got your standard poppy there, and that one's definitely dropped off again. And definitely seeing some of these other ones, like I've seen this one going for sale for $750, and hardly anyone's interested in buying these ones. They're definitely, no one's even touching them at that for a proof at only 7,500 mintage, where the Vietnam War's got the lowest one. And there obviously was massive value in the day for the Mars coloured $2 coin. That was well plus $2,000, and now that one's definitely dropping down a lot, the Mars coloured coin. So you're definitely seeing that market drop off. So I'd love to know what you think. If it's a bit of a catch-all from all the different things I've raised, is it the cost of living? Is it also that we're going more of a cashless society on top of that? People are using cash. There's less and less people that are interested in seeing the coins in circulation and getting excited about it. Or is it because they're not really much in circulation, so you're not getting as many new coin collectors? There's so many different reasons why the market may be dropping off on coin collecting in general, but I'd love to know what you personally think. But they're my key things. I think it's the cost of living. I think it's the way the Royal Australian Mint are releasing the coins and just making it less consistent, making it hard for people that aren't true coin collectors like myself, that are just the kind of on the side hobbies, to even know that a coin's been released into the collection. I think that doesn't help the coin collecting market from my personal aspect. So if you like this content and you found it interesting, make sure you do give us a thumbs up. There's a link down below to buy me a coffee if you want to shout out for the channel and for the content and for the work that I do. Make sure that you do hit that subscription if you want to keep up to date with all things coin collecting within Australia, including any cool releases from the Perth Mint and the Royal Australian Mint. I'll be doing real good detailed videos about what's getting released, so you know if I personally think it's a good value buy or not. And as always, thanks so much for watching and joining the coin collecting community. I'll catch you in my next video. Dan.